There we go. Right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this month's Coaches Hour. I'm Sam, the third coach. How are we all doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. So this evening, there isn't any such agenda. I've got a few points that we can talk about, but just start off with, does anybody have any questions or anything? Want to talk about their training?
So I'm going to ask a leading question if if nobody else has got anything they want to put out there. No? Okay. So how do you stay motivated when you do your training, you complete your block,
Yeah.
and then every race you do, you get slower instead of quicker?
Yeah, okay. Good question. So first of all, I'd always just reflect on potentially why didn't that last race go to plan? So I'm sure we've all had blocks where they've gone perfectly, and then on race day, something out of your control may have hampered that race. So whether it be like weather or I don't know, it just like say go with weather for example. So it could have been look at for me personally, I've got an experience with this within New York. I had almost like the perfect block building up to it, and then on the day the weather was incredibly hot. It should have been the winter marathon almost. It should have been freezing cold. I had turned up with hats, scarves, and gloves, and yeah, it was ridiculous hot, boiling hot, and yeah, it was quite difficult actually afterwards. Kind of reflecting, I've over evaluated so much of my training to see right where did it go wrong, and actually it wasn't necessarily well, it was out of my control, it was the weather. But then for me, it's like I know that I can do better than that performance, and I didn't want that to kind of like stick on me for too long. So then I looked at right, what's my next opportunity to improve upon that? And do I need to take so obviously it was a marathon, so I needed to kind of like take a bit of time away from that. I couldn't just jump back into the next race. But I always think to like just have a bit of a self-reflect moment and just think, could you have done better during that training block? Or is it something that was out of your control? And therefore, once you then book yourself your next one back in. But I'd say it's obviously quite difficult as well with your motivation if it's been a couple of races in a row. But then
So if it's for example half marathon distance,
yeah,
and so I've run 3 since I started with the running hub and what have you, and every one has been slower than the last.
okay,
but if you, so not for marathon, because obviously I understand that that's different, but if you're running a half or less and you don't have quite the race that you were hoping for,
yeah,
do you have to go through another whole training block, or for that kind of distance could you book something in for maybe 6 weeks later
yeah,
and give it another go?
yeah, definitely. You can definitely do a short block because effectively you've built upon that. And I always like to think with a half marathon, say the actual half marathon race didn't quite go to plan and you did fall short of your time. Why don't you then look at doing say 5K, 10Ks for the next couple of weeks and focus on that kind of a distance where you can get your speed up and obviously run faster, but then start translating that through into the longer distances for the half marathon. So when you're looking at your training block, you could start doing longer tempos at the paces that not as quick as what you've just done in the 5-10Ks, but slightly slower. But then so then effectively you're running quick, you're getting faster. So I always think to run fast, you've got to train fast. So you're going to need to keep practicing running at that quicker level, and then just slowly, even if it's a couple of minutes or a couple of 100 meters each time, not necessarily each time, but just slowly build upon that. And then you can jump back into an event. Yeah, you don't. It's not like a marathon where you need a big block. You can kind of take a couple of weeks to reset yourself, and then start to go again. Yeah, absolutely. You won't need to do a big training block again. But yeah, I always think as well with the half marathon distance, especially, there's quite a lot of them around.
Yeah.
So it doesn't actually take like a lot of planning and organization to find another one and to get set back straight on another goal. But yeah, I'd say with that one, if it doesn't quite work on the longest, I say on the half marathons, have you focused then potentially just flicked your attention to say doing a 5K or a 10K and focus on the speed work for a little bit longer before you then jump
Yeah, I
back?
mean, I think my specific issue, whilst that's not very helpful for the wider group, is kind of second half endurance. So we are working on that now. I don't know. Some days I'm feeling really great and I'm really positive and I'm thinking, yeah, you know, I can nail this distance and it's going to be fine. And then other days I just think, oh, I just can't be doing with any of it.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I always like when I feel like that as well. Something like it yo-yo. So if you have quite a few sessions where you kind of like you're not enjoying it, I'd say at that point just have a chat with your coach and just say like I want to put like something fun. Like for me, my favorite session is at 800. So if I'm starting to go for a bit of a patch where I'm not enjoying it, I say put something fun in for me that I'm going to enjoy, and try and find that reason why you're enjoying the running. So if tempo say is what you really enjoy, or a specific session, so if it's like say 200s or 2 minutes or 400s, whatever it might be, see if you can get that back in to try and find something that you know you're gonna really enjoy and that you can push on with. And the shorter stuff normally ticks that box. You kind of like get that buzz off of it. It's short, sharp work. You might be working hard, but because it's a short period, you kind of
Yeah,
you enjoy it more. You get that that buzz off of it.
yeah. Well, hopefully the question will help other people as well if you're recording. So
Fingers crossed. How does everybody else? Does anybody else go through the same kind of battles, I guess?
I've got a half marathon next weekend, the 8th, 9th, and last week I was just like hit a wall. I thought,
Yeah.
oh God, what am I doing? And my body was literally just like aching head to toe. And I was just like, why am I doing this? But a little trip to Rudy, bit of a massage out, and this week's a totally different week. It's just, it's amazing how different I feel this week. I mean, I kept on with all the training, did everything last week, but yeah, I think the going on to getting soaked in the weather and so on and so forth didn't quite go to plan. I guess my body just feeling like lead weight, but yeah, feel way better this week. Having a massage and just getting back on track, and that's good.
Yeah, and I think getting a massage every couple of I go once a month. I go just to kind of like just to get ironed out almost, just to if there's anything in there just to clear it out and then we go again. But yeah, I'd say that's pretty good. Yeah, stick with that definitely. Hey Sabrina, how you doing?
Hello.
hey, lovely. How are you?
Okay, I've had supper. If you stay down, it's 3 out of 3 today, so it means tomorrow I can restart training.
Oh no, you're a bit ill at the minute, mate.
Yeah, really bad. Like in bed and like horrible. It was on the Chicago chat, not on the main group chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was panicking, because I was like, how is that even possible? 2 weeks away. Now I'm like, that's fine. I'll just go around. I will finish Chicago. And then I still have redemption. I have New York 4 weeks after that. So I haven't picked yet, technically. So it's fine.
Good. Yeah, I'll see you message in a group. One of the talking points I was going to say after we've answered any questions and stuff was to talk about like how people like their mental resilience and kind of like powering through. And I always think that like what do people use to keep themselves going during a race when they kind of times get tough? So obviously Katie put it in the group earlier where she appreciated everybody's messages, and it's kind of like everybody's put it at various times. Gary mentioned it recently as well, obviously off the back of Berlin, where it was nice to have, you knew that the running hub were behind you and kind of like cheering you on, always like following you on the tracker and stuff. And it's kind of when you're running, I know that the night before, the morning of, kind of I mute my phone from everybody. I kind of like try and stay focused, but then I set myself, say every 5K or every 10K, I know that between those 3 miles or those 6 miles, whatever it might be, I'm going to think of certain things. So whether that might be for the first like 2 or 3 miles, I'll be thinking specifically of like my mum and dad, and how after every long run, my dad would text me saying, "Oh, good run, like that looked really good, like good for you." But then the next few miles, it could be like I'm going to think of like my niece and nephew here, and how they'd be cheering me on for these next couple of miles. And for me, that's kind of like what I use when it gets tough, just to kind of think of people, and how you know that they'll be watching you now and cheering you on, and just kind of keeping you like cheering you on from the sideline almost. Obviously, you're out there on your own, it seems, but actually there's a full host of people coming like behind and cheering you. So yeah, that's what that's what I'll kind of do. I don't know what anybody else has, if they have things like that. I know people put stickers on their gels, so that when you open your gel, there's a nice little message on there from somebody. That's a nice little one. That's just to put a smile on your face while you run, a bit more motivation. But yeah, does anybody else have any little tips and tricks?
I think it's from the power of the community for me. Is the fact that maybe it's because I've been in the hub now for a couple of years, but like it's built up. At the beginning, I didn't feel like this. Now I really feel the love, and that really like helped the strengths. It's like, for example, when I was getting battered at Goodwood, like it was hell. The way it was raining, it was hurting the skin and everything. It was not about being waterproof. It was sideway rains, and it was like horrible. And the only thing I was thinking is like all the races and different people. I know it sounds really cheesy, but each time I'm in pain, I also think about the hugs that Julie gave me in Amsterdam, and the cheers and the fist bumps at the end of races. All the moments, actually, as you just mentioned, you just end up thinking about the people.
Yeah.
And your whys also. That's really important.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think all the positivity after a race as well. You just kind of, when you get that and you get your medal and everybody's saying, "Oh, congratulations," you've never met them, and they're just like, "Oh, that was great, well done, blah blah blah." It's just such a buzz, that runner's high, quite literally, especially after a race. And I think more so after a marathon, like all the hard work that you've put in over the last few months rather. So that one moment, yeah, it's such a nice feeling, isn't it? So yeah, that's what I do.
And I found that the community feel also get you more and more confidence. For me, as a slow and big runner, I get always comments like, "Oh, is it your first half?" And now I'm like, "No, I just do training run. I'm training for my 4th marathon." And they're like, "Oh my God, oh,"
Yeah, I've got
It's
2
like,
majors in a row
now
coming up.
I just drop the lines just to like, I feel empowered by our community to just drop those lines.
Yeah.
It's good for the confidence, I found.
Yeah, definitely. Tell them you're a pacer as well at the winter half.
Who's doing the winter half then? I can see a few people. Hi, everybody. Hi, Sammy, Tamara. I've never seen you before, so lovely to meet you today.
Oh, and you. I'm doing
Yeah.
the winter half. I think there's a few doing it, aren't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's quite a lot.
I rallied the running hub class lot together and go, "Who's doing it?" And then we all go, "Oh, it's going to be cold, potentially icy, raining."
Jesus, last year I cannot believe how cold that was last year. When there's pouring the drinks, and when you went to pick them up, they'd already frozen over.
Oh,
Like,
basically, we were serving slush puppies.
yeah, crazy. It's so cold. And when James finished, then he had all the frost on his head. That was funny.
For me, it was horrible because I was waiting for people, because I was like, there were people that really wanted my help, needed my help, and I was trying to motivate them. And there was like a guy that was like, "Oh, you should run faster." And I'm like, I wish I would really be warmer. But no, I'm here to motivate people. Just leave me alone.
Is it wrong that I would find it quite appealing to be running for slush puppies now that's been mentioned?
It was more the fact you couldn't pick them up though. You went to drink from it and it was just ice, wasn't it? So
to be fair, Sam, I was in a vest and arm sleeves. Do you not remember?
yeah, I was in a vest as well. Yeah, I had the vest on and sleeves. Yeah,
it was cold, and I remember at the end, I think it was Daisy came over and had to wrap my hands up because I couldn't feel my hands anymore. I'd lost the feeling in my hands.
Yeah.
The course wasn't the course wasn't icy though, was it? So it was cold, but the course was fine. So
yeah, way of that. Yeah,
which is good.
I mean,
the course was amazing. I mean, it was so beautiful. It was so majestic. I loved it. Like
On
the
that
way
one-
everything was frozen and like the white valleys at some point, it was amazing.
And then it snowed at the end of the Christmas do, which was nice.
Mhm.
Yes, that's right.
On,
That-
on, the, on
End of the Milton Keynes, the winter half is the Italian in the evening. I look forward to that.
Yeah.
As I'm
Yeah.
going, what we're going to order.
They're really good evenings out as well, actually, like what Sav just said, where everybody's kind of like, you kind of like get to know people remotely. And then when you're there all in one night, it's a really good night out, actually. We've done it a couple of years now.
Looking forward to it.
I hope so, because I'm coming all the way down to Glasgow for it, so it better be a good night out.
It's a good night. It's good fun. Plenty of shots going around
And
later.
it went a half.
Are you going to wear your ultramarathon
T-shirt.
medal
Yeah.
as a necklace, Lynn, for the do?
No, I'll maybe bring my hoodie. My hoodie's on order. I'm just waiting for it popping through the door any day.
Mhm. That's cool.
In terms of that motivation thing, I think we put it in the WhatsApp group a while ago, but I get people to give me song requests, like even
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous ones, and then every time a new song comes on, it makes you think about somebody. And I really like that. And some of them are a bit ridiculous, but when you're running and you can a song comes on and you think, oh, such and such put that on, and you have a wee think about that person and stuff, that really motivates me. And some of the
Yeah, that's a
songs are a
good
wee bit ridiculous that go on it, but that always helps me get through.
Yeah, that's a good shout, actually. You can also do it on Spotify where you can share a playlist. So
Yeah.
you can get people to, like, say you sent it to a few different people and they could add songs as you're running. They just put random stuff on. We did that at work where we just mixed it up and we just put whoever had the playlist just kept chucking random songs on. So that's quite funny. But yeah, same effect for running, right? Mhm. Does anybody have any questions specifically for tonight?
So talking about going into the winter and the cold weather,
Yeah.
how do, because I've only been with Running Club since May time, so how do our plans kind of change for the winter, or do they not? Do they sort of stay the same? And obviously going out in the dark or so on and
In
so
terms of your coaching plan, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're kind of they won't change, to be fair, kind of like similarly follow through, but obviously it's just kind of like just be cautious if there is icy and stuff and see if you can plan around that. I know that if the weather gets too bad, some people head to the gym and jump on a treadmill.
Right.
But not everybody has access to that. But yeah, you're right, it's kind of we carry on training through it and then just obviously recommends the safety with your like lights and then let people know where you're running and things like that. But yeah, you just kind of carry on training through, really.
Make sure your head torch is constantly charged.
Yeah, do
I
that.
don't.
Oh, okay.
So before I joined Running Club, I just made sure I went out like as soon as I got in from work. Literally, I finished at 2:45, so I could literally get out at like 3:15 while it was still do everything that I had. Well, just my own little thing, but obviously now with the plan, it's a bit different. So I was just wondering whether we do sort of resort to a gym or a treadmill, or whether we still get out and about. So.
Yeah, no, so yeah, it would still be getting out and about, and we train through the dark, wet and miserable nights, unfortunately. But I think quite a couple of guys in there get up quite early hours in the morning, right? Sammy and Sean definitely do. But yeah, it's just whatever works best for you.
Yeah, no, cool, thank you.
I'm always impressed with those people that can get out of bed and run before anything else in the day. It constantly amazes me that people can do that.
To be fair, it's more about getting out before your legs realise what you're trying to do to it. Yeah. Before your body gets a real realisation that you're about to go out for a run at a ridiculous time in the morning.
Yeah. So this morning I got up and I did like 45 minutes, and then I did a 45 minutes this evening. It's the exact same route, but my heart rate was about 20 beats a minute difference, and about 30 seconds quicker in the evening where my body's woke up and has had a chance to realise what I'm up to. But yeah, it's whatever floats your boat in that instance. I'm definitely not a morning runner, and I'll avoid it at all costs if I can get away with it.
What I will say, Sam, is, like from our point of view, getting it done first thing in the morning just means that nothing gets in the way of your run later on in the day.
Yeah.
Once it's done, it's done. you know, as much as I hate to say it, things happen during the course of the day. You come home, you have a tough day at work, you then sometimes just don't feel like doing it, and you'll find yourself giving yourself an opportunity to give yourself an excuse to get out of it. And I find if you just get up and get it done, then you don't have those, you know, there's no opportunity to do that later on, and therefore you're less liable to skip a run or you know, cut a run short because you've run out of time. Sorry, what was that, Sam?
Unless you like laying in.
Yeah, unless you like laying in, obviously, and then that kind of goes against that as well.
Yeah, no, you're right as well, because on the handful of occasions I have done my run in the morning, when I get in from work, I feel very smug knowing that I don't have to now get out and go for a run. I've already done it. I've ticked it off. So yeah, there's that. And also going to work, it's like nice when someone says, "Oh, you're doing this, you're doing that," and I'm like, "I've already been for an hour's run this morning," and they're like, "Jesus." Yeah, that's nice. But yeah, honestly, I think through the winter, depending on what works for you, and just try it. Sometimes running in the morning works better for people just because of life or just because they like preference. But mix it up, try it, see which you prefer, and then yeah, go from there.
Just one thing about running in the cold and what have you is just to not get too hung up on your paces, especially if it's a bit icy, especially if it's very cold. Your pace will be affected by that. So not to get too hung up on the numbers, you know, do it by effort, and you know, if you need to be a bit careful with your footing, then that, you know, don't worry about that too much.
And also don't get carried away with overdressing. You'll be surprised how hot you'll get within the first mile.
It's great, thank you.
No problem.
And tweak also for me, I found that the arms and everything is fine, but I get really cold on my chest.
Okay.
So actually, I run with a scarf. I know it's weird, but I can, for example, be in t-shirt, but I need to run with a scarf when it's cold. Otherwise, I get really cold for a long time afterwards. So you'll find it's really down to you. Like you tweak it and you'll see what works and which body part basically get cold and which one don't. But definitely no jumper. Basic, unless it's -10 at the winter half. But
Layer up. Yeah. Anyone else? Questions?
Can I be cheeky and ask 2 questions?
No. Of course you can.
Thank you. So my first one is, and sorry if anyone asked this because I missed the start, is I know that you obviously experienced a hot marathon last year, and we're all on Chicago weather watch, and it looks like it's going to be quite hot when we arrive. I mean, it might cool down for our run, but like, you know, it's 27, 28 when we get there. Hopefully it cools down for the weekend, but what advice do you give us if it doesn't cool down? Hopefully it will. It looks like it might.
Yeah, this one is actually quite easy for me to talk about after the event now, but at the time I didn't want to accept it. Quite a lot of people were telling me to basically change your race strategy and kind of take your don't fully put all your effort in, because it will be too hot. You will not be able to maintain your your real target A pace if you're pushing yourself quite hard. So kind of just to realign your goals, and kind of just adjust your times accordingly around that, because it does get hot. And whilst you think you can maintain that pace, when it starts getting into the latter half of a marathon, we all know that that's when you start digging deep anyway. And in the heat, it kind of is exaggerated almost. It really is quite tough. So I'd say, speak with your coach on the day and just kind of right, what do we need to realign our goals here, and just see, just see what you can do. But yeah, if it's hot, I would say just stay hydrated. There will be extra water and stuff out on the course on the day if it's as hot as that.
Anyways, every 1.5 miles there is water in Chicago, so it's quite easy.
Yeah, perfect. In that case as well.
It's both sides of the course in Chicago, so you don't need to think about crossing the course. It's both sides.
Oh,
so
perfect.
I think after 5k it's water stops every mile, and it's both sides. So don't worry about trying to get on one side and wasting that energy. Yeah, it's literally on both sides of the course. There's so much water, so just, I guess like Sam was saying, hydrate really early on.
Yeah.
Even if you're not
say-
feeling like thirsty, or just take a little bit on at each water stop, because especially if it's
Definitely.
hot.
Yeah, definitely. I'd definitely emphasize that as well. Every single water stop, if there's an opportunity to grab it, just have a quick sip of water, even if it's like a 1 gulp. But also, if it's in a bottle and you can, I don't know if it's bottles or plastic cups or something like that. But
Cups.
are there in cups?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say just grab one anyway and just take it and hold it, even if you can, just for like a little while. Because you'd rather have it than not have it. And if you can drink quick enough, grab one at the start of the first water stop, like at the front of the water stop. And then by the time you got towards the end, you've got time to grab another one if you've drunk it quite quickly. So just use that to your advantage. Well, don't like wait right to the end to grab one, in case you miss it as well, almost. So yeah, but definitely if it's as hot as what you're saying, then use every opportunity to hydrate along the way.
Thank you. Hopefully it'll cool down anyway. And my other question is, I started to feel ill like last Tuesday, and I thought, oh, paper cold, paranoia. And I did a couple of COVID tests last week, and I thought, oh, great, it's not COVID. And then Sunday I did my run, and I felt dreadful, and I didn't have a COVID test, and I've got COVID for the first time. I didn't have a test today, and my lines got really faint, so that's good. And I've just done my intervals. And today's actually the first time where I feel a lot better for about a week, to be honest. Has it, anyone who's had COVID, is it easy to recover? Will I be? I mean, I like to say I feel a lot better today, and my line's nearly faint. So hopefully, I'm at the worst of it's gone, and I don't have a blocked up nose now, which is great. But is it likely to affect me for the next few weeks, or is everyone different? I guess.
Yeah, so I've had it 4 times, Susan.
Oh my gosh, you poor thing.
It's perks of having a toddler. Your body will be affected for a couple of weeks. So it's about basically being smart and listening to your body. If you feel okay, go for it. But all of a sudden, I don't know, if mid-marathon you feel it's a bit heavy on the chest, just slow down, because you need to make sure that you actually don't damage anything. You will finish it anyway. So don't damage yourself. Advice from James that he gave me on the first times I had COVID. Because I had it like on the chest, so it depends where it is. And then there are times where it was like purely like I had a cold. Once it was a tummy issue, so it really like I had 4 different types of symptoms. But so the thing is really listen to your body.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd say just to echo that, obviously it depends, like everybody's different. So how you're feeling now, if you're feeling better, say within a week and you start doing your intervals and you're feeling better, just see how you go, and kind of, it's easier said than done, but try and put that thought to one side about whether that's going to have an impact on you, and just try and stay positive. And you think you've kind of had your negative patch where you was ill and you was feeling quite rough, whereas now if you've had a positive run, so stick with that positive thought and try and push on and say, right, well, I've done that now, like let's kind of keep that as the forefront, like think positively. You got a couple of weeks to go, so yeah.
A couple of weeks. A week and 2 days. A couple of weeks, thanks.
A week and 2 days.
I think on that point, I said, yeah, and I want to sort of reiterate what Sam just said there. It is very much it's an individual's perspective on this. You know, everyone suffers from it in a different way. When we had COVID, obviously it wiped me out of my target race, which was Cambridge last year. And James said that when I came back into training, he said it was almost like I came back fitter. He said really randomly, it was like I'd come back to a level of fitness that I wasn't actually at before. So I think, yeah, it is very much some people will just have the lightest of colds. Some people will not. And yeah, it's not down to, there is no one size fits all thing for COVID. You've just got to kind of ride it out and just see what it comes for you. But Susan, honestly, I'd just be positive. That's the key thing to it, is just make sure your head's and your mind's in a good place, because that will keep you going.
Thank you.
Susan, I also think maybe just like do all the things you would normally do this week, you know, a bit of extra vitamin C, a bit of extra sleep, eat well, sleep well, all them things you probably would do in your taper, but just try and
make
up it
sure
by 5 or 10% to make yourself feel better. Like, you know, you obviously eat very well anyway, but you know, throw some extra vitamin C in there. If it's nice outside, get a bit of vitamin D in the sun, like just all them like natural things that help. Sleep, definitely sleep as much as you can, because it's about repairing your body at this stage. So, and you've done the work, like you're in your taper, you've done the work. Trust your plan, and if you're going to get any, you've not missed any training, so that's the main thing forward.
And do you know what? I think I feel better for going outside today, because normally I go to the office quite a lot, and I haven't been obviously I haven't been in my office, and I didn't go last week because I didn't feel well, and today's the first time I'd been outside since my horrible run on Sunday, and it's like, oh, just step outside actually made me feel better.
Bit of fresh air. Cool. Does anybody else have any other talking points? Any subjects, topics?
How is your training going, Sam? Are you feeling fully recovered now? Are you positive? Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back training again now. I go through phases, if I'm honest. I'm definitely in a better place than where I was a couple of months ago. And now my injury is kind of like, so it's my ankle that was causing me grief. And it's now better. I'm now able to run on it, and it's not hurting, it's not painful. Now I'd just probably class it as like a niggle. So I'm able to train and carry on training through it, and just being careful with it and getting like sports massages and keeping like icing it up and things like that. And yeah, enjoying doing my intervals and my tempo runs and things like that. I think I've still got a bit of a barrier in my head with the marathon training, specific stuff like the longer runs. I think I've got at some point 18 miles coming up, and I'm already thinking how am I going to do 18 miles? But then at the weekend I had so it's a long run session, but it was 3 easy, 2 at marathon pace, or 2 marathon effort, and I absolutely loved it. Coming like a real high. So yeah, it's go through phases, but I think we all go through that. But I'm definitely in a better place with it now. So I think once you're injured and you can't run, and you have that power taken away from you, it kind of, your mindset changes all like automatically. But yeah, it's definitely in a better place with it all now, I think. So yeah.
If everything goes well, you already have a target for Valencia?
Yes and no. I think initially it was kind of like my target for the big half at the beginning of August was just to get on the start line, and like as long as I can get myself fit enough to run it. And then that obviously went well. I was over the moon with how that race went. And yeah, now I've just got like what I think is 10 weeks now, I think, to Valencia. I think something like that. Yeah, set myself a little target, but I don't want to be too ambitious. I kind of feel like I just need to go in and enjoy the block as best as I can, as opposed to setting myself a real specific target, pushing really hard, and then potentially not enjoying the block and getting into a bit of a negative space with it again. So yeah, kind of don't want to put too much pressure on myself, but just go and have fun, enjoy yourself, and see if you can run a good time, but not like I'm not going to go for a PB in Valencia, that's for sure. So I think that takes that pressure straight off for me. So yeah, Paris remains my PB.
And then who's doing Frankfurt? Sammy?
Yeah, me and Sean and Daisy Wooler are doing Frankfurt.
When is this?
4.5 weeks, I think.
It's like
Oh, wow.
29th of October.
Wow. Cool.
How are you feeling about that at the minute? Looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I think I'll look forward to it after I've got the 20-miler out of the way this weekend.
Yeah. Are you doing that on a race? Is it like a race you've got this weekend, or?
No, this is
Sean's got a session.
I've got a session training run, so you know I think I've done enough racing because I've managed to negotiate in a fast 10k and a fast half and another fast half before my marathon. So
You're getting them all in.
I don't think.
Congratulations, Sean, by the way.
Yeah, thank you, Sab. I said it was. I set myself a target at the start of the year that I wanted a PB across all 6 major distances, And I've PB'd across every one of them distances this year, so I'm really pleased with that.
Wow, that's brilliant.
I've done a good job, and I'm pleased for it. You know, and I'm proud of it. That's the thing. I was so. There was a part where I was like, oh, I really need to drop the vitality off to this and go and do a 20-mile race somewhere, because that would be in like situ with the training. And James just went, no, go and bloody do it. So I did it, and it was great, because I sat down and thought to myself before I got to the line of vitality, I was like, oh, it's going to be a good run. I can feel it's going to be a good run. But then there was a point where I was at the start line thinking, if I go for my target for what I'm intending to go to, I've got to run what I did in Boston at the 5K, but I've got to do it twice. I remember not how tough that was, but I remember how hard it was to get myself into the zone to commit to that, and then thinking I've got to do it for another 3.1 miles was.
Yeah, but you got 5 months training on that, so.
I got 5 months training on that, as my wife rightly pointed out. But yeah, it was. Yeah, but you know what? I couldn't have asked for it to have been a better race on Sunday. It was a real moment of. But I always kind of knew, getting into mile 5, I knew that it was a good race, and I knew I'd done well. Coming into that last sort of 500 meters, I knew how well I'd done, if you know what I mean. And at that point, all the pressure went off. It was just about enjoying that last 500 meters into the end and into the finish. And it was just a good race. So I'm really, really pleased. Really pleased.
Good job, well done, mate. I always
Your
think the
photo
10K
is
is
really
the
nice.
hardest distance to race, like, or the least enjoyable almost. It's like it's really tough.
Yeah, Sam, I do get that, because I've watched Sam do a lot of like runs, and I genuinely think that she'd be really good at a 10K race if she's got a 16-mile warm-up. I don't think she could get up in the morning and just go for a 10K run. She needs that 16-mile warm-up to get her. I always remember the park run. Best park run she ever did at Milton Keynes was literally on the back end of an 18-mile run. Like, she'd done an 18-mile training run and then did 3 miles at park run and did her fastest ever at Milton Keynes.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's just the way some people, you know, everyone has a different way of you know, they warm into a race, or they warm into a distance differently.
Yeah.
I was going to say earlier when Julie was saying about the half, and I think sometimes like that, I didn't know I was going to run fast. I got to the start of parkrun and Katie was like, run as fast as you want. And I think it's just taking that pressure off. So we're like, I mean, I'm probably the worst one. Like, I'm desperate for a marathon PB. I think everyone probably knows that.
Well, every race.
If I could, every race. But sometimes just try and take that pressure of the time off. Like, I know we're talking about marathons and half marathons, but I had such a good marathon at London this year. But I literally went into that race with no pressure. I didn't wear my super fast shoes. I was like, Katie said, just run what you want to run. And
so you ran bloody fast.
I went into it with a different mindset, had a great time, and ran a pretty fast time. So sometimes we get really focused on the time, and I'm one of the worst for that. But try and have a different goal as well out of the race, or, you know, something else that is going to be a success measure for yourself other than the time. Which, you know, I'm saying that it's really hard to do because I really want a marathon PB, but try and have some other goals in there that would make it a successful race. And I think that motivates you to carry on as well.
And I agree with that the idea of getting the pressure off is massively important. I mean, I took all the pressure off for the big half this year and had a really, really good run. You know, you sometimes you just need it. And it wasn't like part of me wanted to go for it, but part of me didn't. And I think sometimes it's just nice to get into that race and then go, actually, do you know what? The plans have changed slightly, and I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is. If it blows up, it blows up. If it goes well, it goes well. And you just got to accept it for what it is. If you can get yourself into that, you know, if you can let that pressure off, you usually tend to find that those things go really well for you afterwards.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Taking the pressure off anything, it kind of.
It's also the visualization of dreams sometimes makes you really relax. It's weird. Like for me, it's like I can see when I'm not stressed or when I don't put pressure on myself. The fact that the shoulder are relaxed and I have so much better run, but also the feeling I enjoy it so much better because I'm not all crisp. We'll see what happens in Chicago, but I've been dreaming and I've been having the same dream over and over of 5:55 on me calling James on crossing the line. It's weird. I've done it maybe 35 times, the same dream, waking up in the middle of the night, like
You're manifesting itself.
exactly. So it's so weird.
It's a little concerning having so many dreams about James, though.
Also,
Yeah.
Sam, if you can dream
This
up
is
what,
being recorded.
if you can dream up what Saturday's lottery numbers are a few times, I wouldn't mind that either.
Sabrina, the best thing to do is wait till you get to the pizza restaurant, then ring James,
Oh, 100%.
because he'll be even more jealous then.
They are good
Yeah,
pizza.
anyway, I'll have to wait for the Wi-Fi, so
Yeah, I'm
you'll have to
pretty sure
wait.
they have Wi-Fi in the pizza restaurant. You're fine.
Cool. Does anybody else have anything? How's everybody else's training going? Anything they're enjoying or not enjoying at the minute?
Well, we're working on second half endurance. So Katie's programming walking around running. So my long run tomorrow is 20 minutes walking, 40 minutes running, 10 minutes walking.
Okay.
So I'm on my feet for quite a long time, but not all of that is running.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are you enjoying that bit of it, or are you not enjoying that bit?
Well, this is only week 2, so I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, I felt a bit weird last week when I kind of went out for my run and walked away from the house and walked at the end of the road and then walked, and that kind of did feel a bit odd. I enjoyed the second walk a lot because that's like, oh, okay, so the hard work's done now, so now I'm just gonna pootle home. But like I say, this is only week 2, so we'll let you know. But it's, you know, certainly when you're a bit older like me, the constant pounding and stuff like that is not always ideal. So I guess it's just a way of getting time on feet, but without all of the impact.
Yeah.
So hopefully it will work, and we'll make some progress.
Fingers crossed. And do you have your next race booked? Is that anything in the calendar you've got lined up yet?
Well, for the first time, I'm actually going to run the winter half rather than be helping at the winter half. So yes, although I'm marginally disappointed because the one year I decided to do it, the finishing t-shirt's orange, which is not my favourite colour. But yeah, that's the plan. So
It's a good medal, though, Julie. It's a good medal.
It's a spinny one, isn't it? This
Yeah,
time?
it spins.
Yeah, very cool.
Julie,
Yes.
does that mean I convince you for a 2-hour sub-fun bus?
Oh, I love your optimism.
I've got amazing amount of optimism for you. You should know that.
Oh, good Lord. Oh my goodness. If I ran a sub 2, I'd give up running on the spot.
No, you wouldn't.
Straight up
That's the problem, Julie. You always want to go quicker.
Oh my goodness.
You know, that's the great thing about a winter half. There's so many of us, and obviously we're all pacing it. Wherever you want to be in that crowd, you're going to be with someone you can share that with, who you're going to appreciate it with.
Yeah.
Yes, hopefully. Well, my amazing ultra runner friend Lynn is coming down and staying with me, and so I'm hoping that we're going to be able to push through together.
Love that.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Definitely, yeah.
That's going to be good. Yeah, it's going to be a good weekend. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. I think, Julie, obviously with the training that I've done for the Ultra this year and kind of that change of focus away from not thinking about time and not doing a lot of speed work and time on feet and stuff, I signed up for a lot of races this year just as part of the training. and there was none of them that I did for anything other than just to have a race to look forward to and to keep me motivated for training. And I found a real change in focus, and that has really helped me this year. And even like on my runs now, I feel like they're a bit quicker, even though I've not done a lot of speed work, and it's just been that time on feet and doing the miles and taking the pressure off. So I think that if you can change that focus, then absolutely, I think that's probably one of the biggest things.
Yeah, hopefully. I've been using. Yeah,
helps.
well, we've been using the bike to do the interval work, because I have a bike at home, and that really helps. But I've got a few weeks yet, so we're just going to dig in, get it done, and then hopefully on the day it will all pan out.
Yeah.
You need to
I have to say that in case
Katie's
Katie's listening.
Start thinking of James on the finish line. Anybody else who's training? Anything they're enjoying or not enjoying?
I'm just trying to get back into it again. I've got a bit of a habit of doing my target race and then kind of putting my feet up for a couple of months, so I don't really want to do that this time round. So yeah, just trying to kind of get back in it. I've got a half marathon this Sunday, which was probably not the best thing to book, but again, I'm just going to go out and enjoy it. It's a race, a local race, and it's one I ran at the 10K of this race in 2019, and I remember distinctly thinking, oh, I'd love to be able to run a half marathon and do this half marathon, not knowing that I'd be able to go this time and have run a couple of marathons in the ultra. So I'm just really looking forward to it. But yeah, there's definitely no any targets for me just get around.
So enjoy that one, and then obviously focus in a few months' time on the winter half, right?
That's it.
Something to aim for. That'd be good. You can have like a before and after comparison.
Yeah.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, all
I'm in
good.
my car.
We can.
I'm sat in my car. That's why I look like I'm in a cave or something, because I'm meant to be in work, but I'm hiding on here instead.
Love that.
Because this is much more fun. I've just kind of finished I've got my first half event this weekend. So I'm looking forward to that. I was really ill last week though, so I've been trying to not let the kind of doubts creep in that, you know, everything I've done, the block's been really good, like fine, I feel like everything's gone really well, but you know, and I feel like that doubt kind of crept in that I would go out and run and not even be able to run a mile, but yeah, I did go out and it has been fine, and I am still alive and very much able to turn my legs over. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that this weekend.
You just have to take the pressure off. If you haven't been well, you just got to, like Sam was saying earlier, adjust your goals slightly, you know, and
yeah,
don't go out too fast. Give your body a chance to warm up.
I've got no real expectations or goals for this one because it's in the Lake District as well, so it's up the side of a mountain and back down. So I'm not got any kind of time set in mind or anything. It's just to go out and enjoy the experience, really. So, and then run a proper one in December.
That's going to be pretty cool, though. The full of all those views that you're going to be seeing, that's going to be pretty exciting. I'm pretty jealous of that. Not jealous of running up the hills, so you can keep that, but definitely the views once you're at the top. Yeah, decent. And don't forget to smile for the camera as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Mara, how's your training going? All good?
Mine, yeah, fine, thank you. So I said I had hit a bit of a wall last week with the legs and stuff, but yeah, better this week. And just before I joined Running Hub, I had no structure whatsoever to my running, so I'm really enjoying sort of going out and trying all these intervals, and there's a bit of like, oh, how am I going to do on this one? But yeah, it's good fun. I enjoy it. But yeah.
Excellent. And did you say you have a race in a couple of weeks as well? Sorry.
Yeah, I've got the Royal Parks half, 8th, 9th of October, a week on Sunday, not this Sunday, the following Sunday. So, yeah, but I always just go with go out, enjoy it, and what happens on the day happens on the day, and just hopefully I get through that finish line, stood up, and having enjoyed it. That's kind of my motto with it. So yeah, we'll see. It'll only be my third one. I admire you all that have done loads and loads. I think you're fantastic. Such an inspiration as well. You're brilliant, all of you.
Good luck with that. Has anybody else done the Royal Parks half?
I did many years ago.
How was it?
One of the Davids had done it. Maybe I asked him the question the other day when he said he'd done it. So yeah. I think it's relatively flat, maybe a little bit, tiny bit hilly, but yeah, I think it's quite. Yeah, reviews are like it's quite a good one. I don't know, a bit of fun. I don't know. We'll see. I'll report back after I've done it.
We look forward to hearing about it.
I seem to remember the finish line being a really long way from where you can see it.
Yes.
And you keep running to it and it doesn't get any closer.
In fact, that's actually when I was just looking up some stuff on the Royal Parks and they said don't almost look at the finish line, look at the counters leading up to it, because yes. I think it's in Hyde Park, isn't it, where it finishes, and it is really long apparently. So they say just look at the meters or yards or whatever they have it in leading up and look at that more so than the actual finish line. But for me, I was running down like a long road today, and I just do look beyond and think that's where I've got to aim to. I don't sort of look for that. And I was like, actually, I quite like that, and just like a long straight. I don't know. I'll see.
I did Barcelona half marathon a couple of years ago with one of my best mates, and it was her first ever half marathon. And the finish line, you can see it in the distance, and I'm like, right, come on, we can go. So it's like sprint finish almost. And then she sprinted, and then I didn't realise it was like way further down the road. And then she was absolutely fuming for the last couple of 100 meters, and it was still near the finish line. But yeah, so there's always that that goes against you if you set off too hard too soon. It's a long way, and you can just see it, and it doesn't look like it's getting closer. But yeah, good fun. Cool. Right. Anybody got anything else you want to talk about for the last few minutes? No?
No.
All good.
So can I just ask a quick question? How do the paces work at MK Winter Half? I've never followed a pacer.
Okay.
I'm not that experienced actually, to be fair, so I wouldn't really know.
Okay, so we all get all the pacers get assigned a time, and then effectively you get set up in waves. So I'm the 130 pacer, so I'll be in the first wave, and then it'll be I'm pretty sure they're going every 10 minutes this year. Someone might be able to correct me is that right? I think it's every 10 minutes, not 15 minutes this year. But yeah, effectively, so it goes off
every 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay, sorry. So yeah, so there's pacers then all the way through, but effectively in that group. Say that again, sorry.
I said from you to me.
Yeah, literally from all every 5 minutes and from 130. So what pacer are you doing? Is it?
Me, I'm the 3+. I mean, I'm the sweeping thing. It's going to be 3. I'm not letting anyone behind, but
yeah.
Like.
And then yeah, effectively we set up in waves, and our bibs have what time we're pacing, and then we just run to that average pace throughout the race, to then finish within. I think we've got a target of a minute within that finish time. But we have a little competition and see who can get as accurate as they can.
Yeah. So you just look and then just tag it.
Yeah, effectively, yeah. So whatever time you submitted on your race entry, you'll be put in that wave which is appropriate to that pacing slot, and then there'll be multiple paces in that time slot. You can just choose to run with one of those.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No problem. But yeah, as well, like I think that race is like it gets to like about 10 mile, and then it's pretty much downhill if I remember rightly. It's like a tiny little hill around mile 10. I think it's just a little bump in the road, and then it is downhill pretty much all the way to the finish. You can tell everybody to just run off at that point.
That's exactly right, Sam.
Yeah, it is right. Isn't it? Yeah, so you pace everybody. Yeah, you pace everybody to mile 10, doing a really good job, and then when you get there, you're like, right now, just run off and leave me. And then
you finish on your own as a pacer.
You finish around you, you're like, oh, well, yeah. So yeah, but it's a really good race actually. I really enjoy running that one.
So is it quite flat then compared to some of the other MK half ones then?
I think it's pretty flat. As I said, it's just there's this one bit where you have to run up a bit of a hill, and then after that is literally once you're there, there's just a long downhill drag all the way back into towards Willow.
Okay, that's cool.
It's just that the one uphill bit is at 10 miles or something.
Yeah.
So you just have to brace yourself and know it's coming.
Yeah.
It's not like it's quite a short, like once you get through, is it like just after teardrops, right? And then you turn left and then it's back up. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then from there, so it's like a short, I don't know, a couple of 100 meters of climbing, but not like, it's not steep climbing, I wouldn't say. And then after that, once you're at the top, I said it's like a nice gradual long downhill climb all the way through pretty much, and you do pick the pace up quite comfortably. So yeah.
As long as it's not icy.
Yeah. But last year was, as I said, like it was cold, but as the guy said, it wasn't actually the conditions were fine to actually run on the road, or run on the pavements or paths or whatever it was. So yeah, well.
I
Yeah,
also
it's
think that
to be
the
honest,
weather
it-
last... Sorry, Sabrina, you go.
No, go.
I was just going to say, I do think that the weather last year was particularly exceptional.
Yeah.
And if we get a repeat of that, then that's pretty unlucky.
Yeah, that's bad luck.
And Tamara, if it's icy, we just be careful. We finish, we grab a medal, and then we all have our party. So
Yeah.
it won't be the end.
I'm looking forward to it. Be good.
Cool. Right. On that note, if nobody else has any other questions, we will call that a wrap.
Good job, Sam. Well done.
Lovely. That's good.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, guys. Cheers for coming. See you later. Enjoy the rest of your weeks.
Good luck
Happy
in
races,
Chicago,
guys.
everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, good luck,
Yeah,
guys.
good luck.
Chicago.
Good luck. Bye.